Hello, hello, hello. This is Rich Kale here on YouTube, Rich Gen X elsewhere, and it is time for us to return to Lamplight City. Now, I figured out what I did wrong. I had to look it up. And it's a case of not clicking on every hotspot that's available to you.
I'm afraid I need to have another look inside Miss Lathan's room, Officer Kane.
All right, but please be quick about it.
Hey, I'll be quick. Alright, back to the spontaneous combustion.
Oh, Miles, really? You're going to carry the ashes around in a pewter mug?
It's vital to the investigation that we find out exactly what happened to the body. If anyone can tell us for certain, it's Dr. Edwards.
Fair enough. I suppose this isn't the most unpleasant thing you've carried around before. Remember that time we had to go looking for that murder victim's missing head?
I'd really rather not, actually.
Now, we have the ashes.
Ugh. The smell from the bedroom is getting worse. I don't know how much longer I can stand it.
Oh.
Nothing new to ask him.
Alright, nothing new to ask. Good. And I feel sorry for him. Alright. Now let's go back to the police station.
Dear Lord, what is that smell? Did you step in something out there, Fordham?
Private investigation is a dirty job, Upton. You know that. Got a moment, Upton?
Yes, but let's make this quick.
Yeah.
Would it be possible for me to access the mortuary?
The mortuary? What for?
I'd like to consult with Dr. Edwards.
All right, but be careful. Make sure you don't let Snelling see you back there.
That's it for now.
Better get back to it then.
Well, now we can get down to brass tacks.
Dr. Edwards' lab was always a fascinating place to learn about death. A bit less so now that I'm quite the expert.
Okay.
Oh, did I miss cleaning up some bit of that last corpse? Oh, Fordham, what brings you down here?
Hello, Edwards. I was wondering if I could pick your brain.
Yes, of course. There's one in a jar over there, and I may have another one around here somewhere.
That coroner humor never gets old, does it?
Anyway,
No, don't.
let me know what you want to discuss. This fellow's not going anywhere.
Okay.
It's important to keep your hands clean when dealing with dead bodies. After all, you never know where they've been. Until after the post-mortem exam, anyway.
Yeah.
This provides the room with just the right amount of heat. Unlike the incinerators in the crematorium. Talk about overkill. I wonder if Edwards ever got around to fixing this typewriter. The letter E being out of alignment always made his reports a nightmare to read. Assorted lab equipment for setting things on fire or causing explosions. You know, the perfect way to pass the time.
Yeah.
I remember when Edwards used to keep his collection of preserved reproductive organs on this shelf. He must be getting soft in his old age. Or perhaps that's exactly what happened to his collection. I'm pretty sure I saw Edwards weighing his lunch on this once.
Brain.
It's rather fresh. There's a plaque at the base of the jar that says H. Putnam.
H. Putnam, huh?
Well, at least he died with a smile on his face. Sort of. A fine example of well-developed deltoids, latissimus dorsi, and gluteus maximi. The brain is truly a fascinating organ. If only more people used it.
Very true.
You've seen one dissected torso, you've seen them all.
Yes.
It sure is a lot of rubbish crammed inside our upper bodies, isn't there?
Yes.
Nice pair of legs. Edwards keeps assorted bottles and
Okay.
not a stitch of clothing on him. As if having your torso ripped open and poked around inside weren't bad enough. There truly is no dignity in death. Seems to be empty for now. That's
Good
most
thing.
definitely a good thing.
The drain.
I feel sorry for the poor slob who has to clean that out.
Yeah.
Edwards must have some very good friends in the department who have gotten this custom-made table. It does suit the room, though.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk. Now,
Pardon me,
around.
Edwards.
Yes?
Okay.
I've got these human ashes from a crime scene.
Straight to the point. I knew I liked you for a reason, Fordham.
Yeah.
Who do they belong to?
Desiree Lathan. She was a Gascon Grand Dame.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. I heard about that case. She was found burned in her home, wasn't she?
That's
Yeah.
right.
I meant to go over there later today.
Well, then I suppose I've saved you the journey. Would you have a look at these?
Does this mean you're officially on the case?
Not as such. In fact, I'd appreciate it if you didn't mention it here.
Clandestine operation. Sneaking around under Snelling's nose.
I don't have much of a choice. I'm pretty much persona non grata these days.
Well, you're always welcome in my mortuary. Preferably while still breathing, of course.
Of course.
Anyway, I'll just take those ashes off your hands. I'm sure your social life soon.
Yes.
I was making quite the impression.
This is an interesting choice container.
It was either that or carry around bare hands.
Well, I'm a bit busy right now, but I should have something for you within the next couple of hours. But you realize information won't be exclusive to you. I'll have to pass it on to the detectives on the case.
Of course.
Naturally. That just gives me more incentive to work quickly.
Yeah.
I found this piece of burned cloth crime scene. Could you take a look at it for me?
This is a late case.
It is, yes.
What do you need me to look at exactly?
It appears to have some oily residue on it.
Interesting. I'm afraid I have my hands full right now, but you can feel free to use my workbench if you'd like.
Ah.
Do what exactly?
Surely they taught you something on the base chemical analysis when you worked here.
Yes, well, I always let Lil handle the more technical aspects of our cases.
Yeah.
A real pity not to help you anymore, isn't it?
But I'll have a look and see if something comes back to me.
Okay.
So, Snelling got promoted to chief, did he?
Yes, not long after you left. Personally, I think you took advantage of your situation to change things around here.
Was it really that much of a shock? Bill and I weren't exactly the most well-liked detectives on the force.
Yeah.
But you were respected. You solved over 350 cases in 15 years. You were an institution.
Right, we were. It's so easy for people to resent their more successful peers.
Yeah.
Ah, Edwards. Nice to know someone missed us.
Well, let's ask about. Should I ask about Bill?
You didn't examine Bill after he died, did you?
Ha! He wishes.
No, there was nothing inconclusive about his death. He died from impact after falling from the roof of a building. Why? Was there something else I should have looked into?
No, I was just curious.
As fond as I am of Edwards, it would have been a bit much for him to go poking around my insides.
Okay.
Keeping busy down here, Edwards?
Oh, you know me. I've always got my hands in someone.
Edwards always did have a way with words.
This postmortem was just a formality, really. The victim died of a gunshot wound to the head. Last week, though, we had a real kicker. An old man was brought in, and though he appeared quite dead, I was told that he'd been in a trance for over half a year. Apparently, he was hypnotized right at the point of death, and somehow managed to remain alive, in a fashion. In any case, when I began performing the exam, his entire body decayed into a putrefied mess within minutes. It was fascinating.
Whoa.
Should you really be giving me these details, Edwards?
Oh, hell, I don't mind telling you, Miles. It's not like you're going to go tell Snelling. Besides, you're the only one who's come to see me all week. Dead people make lousy conversationalists.
Hey, I take offense to that statement.
Thanks. That's all I needed to know for the moment.
Anytime, Fordham.
Alright. So let's go to the workbench here. See if we can figure this out here.
It's been ages since we got to do any type of chemical analysis. This will be grand.
Dr. Edwards, could you remind me what it is I'm meant to be doing?
Yes, of course. Go ahead and get as much of that oily residue from the cloth into the petri dish.
Okay.
Good. Now add some of the chemical reagent in the red bottle to the dish.
Okay.
Aha! The oil turned orange.
Yes! The reagent has caused a chemical reaction and changed the oil's color. Isn't science fun?
Yes.
Quite. But how does this help me?
I have some samples of the most common types of flammable oils on the shelf. Go ahead and add them to the test tubes.
Ah.
Good. Now simply check each one with the reagent to see if you can find a match.
And if I don't find one?
Then I suggest going out and looking for more oil samples.
Okay.
Whale oil be damned. Looks like that's not a match.
No?
Oh, you love it.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if this is a match.
So much for kerosene being the culprit.
Alright. Coal oil. Okay.
Too bad. I would have bet on it being coal oil.
Okay, so we don't know what. So none of them is it.
I don't think...
Okay.
Got a moment, Upton?
Yes, but let's make this quick.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it for now.
Better get back to...
So let's see, I leave here. Now if I go someplace, I gotta get oil samples. I wonder if I can get them now.
All the tools an artist would ever... There's also several jars full of clear liquid. Interesting. Huh. This is linseed oil. It's used as a drying agent for oil paintings. It would be a good idea to take a sample of this, Miles. Especially now that nobody's looking.
Yeah. Now that we have that, let's go back to the police station.
Got a moment, Upton?
Yes, but let's make this quick.
Let's see. Okay.
That's it for now.
Better get...
Alright. Let's go back there again. I'm gonna go back to the workbench here.
Now that we've got some linseed oil, it's probably worth testing.
Yeah. In fact, I have the definite suspicion that that oily substance is gonna be
Well, I'll be damned. We've got ourselves a match. I
interesting.
wonder if Edwards knows anything pertinent about this stuff.
Alright, let's talk to Edwards now.
Pardon me, Edwards.
Yes?
What do you know about linseed oil?
Yeah.
It's an oil made from flaxseed that has many uses. Most commonly, it's used to dry things like varnish or oil paints. Some people even eat it for health benefits. I hear it goes well with a bit of quark.
And it's flammable?
As most oils are, yes. Where are you going with this?
The oily residue on that rag is linseed oil.
Fascinating.
But I found no trace of anything used to light a fire at the crime scene.
Uh-oh, he's getting that gleam in his eye.
Wait just a moment. Linseed oil. Of course!
What?
Anytime linseed oil is used, extreme caution must be taken to dry cure rags that may be soaked in it. That's because when linseed oil dries and oxidizes, it releases heat. A pile of rags soaked in linseed oil in a confined space runs the risk of spontaneously combusting.
How long would this take exactly?
Yeah.
A few days, at least.
Interesting. It's a rather uncertain means of murder, but it's excellent for appearing accidental.
It's certainly not the most far-fetched conclusion you've ever come to.
Bingo.
Have you had a chance to look at those ashes I gave you?
Yes, I have.
Yeah?
Unfortunately, there isn't much I can tell you. The victim burned to death at a very high temperature. These ashes are greasy and putrid because of liquefied fat from the body, which burned like a candle.
It's quite all right, Edwards. I appreciate the information nonetheless.
Well, just so you don't go away empty-handed, have a copy of my report. Maybe it will be of some use.
Indeed it will be.
Thanks. That's all I needed to know for the moment.
Anytime, Fordham.
Yeah. Now we have the report. Linseed oil. So if the bedding got soaked in linseed oil, that makes a lot of sense. let's head to the law offices. Usher and Price. Now that we have this... Alright, let's talk.
Begging your pardon, sir.
Yes?
Perhaps Mr. Usher will see me when he sees this.
Oh, what's that?
A report from Dr. Malcolm Edwards, the city coroner, confirming Miss Lathan's untimely demise.
Let me see that. Oh my. Wait one moment, would you?
I shall. Pneumonic tube.
Martin, what is the meaning of this?
The gentleman who brought that is a private investigator. He's waiting outside to see you.
Send him in then.
You heard him, Mr. Fordham. You may go inside and see Mr. Usher.
Good.
Thank you kindly.
So, a private investigator, are you?
Yes.
That's right. Miles Fordham is my name.
Jonas Usher, a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Pleasure's all mine.
So, it would seem that Miss Lathan has shuffled off the mortal coil, as it were.
I'm
Yes.
sorry to say that is indeed the case.
Please come in, have a seat. Make yourself comfortable. I only ask that you kindly wash your hands in the basin first, and limit what you touch in here.
This one seems a bit on edge, doesn't he? Is there anything more boring than books on law? Just reading the titles is making me drowsy.
Yeah.
Stern-looking lady.
Yeah.
Adds a nice bit of color to the room.
I'm not gonna sit in the chair yet.
Judging by how full these bottles are, Usher doesn't indulge much. What a waste.
Actually, I consider that a good thing. Okay, we've hit all the hot spots. But I will respect his wishes.
Thank you, Mr. Fordham. I appreciate your cooperation.
Usher seems to like keeping his guests at a distance.
Okay. We'll sit in the chair.
Mr. Usher, I have some questions for you.
And hopefully I have your answers.
Indeed. Let's hope.
What can you tell me about Desiree Lathan?
Yeah.
She was a lovely woman. I'm saddened to hear of her unfortunate passing.
How long had you been her attorney?
She retained me some 10 years ago, I believe.
Yeah.
It's quite a long time.
Yes, I remember I had just gotten over a bout of melancholia and been able to work in nearly a month.
Huh.
I didn't think I'd make it out of that, but luckily things took a turn for the better. Miss Lathan came to see me, and I've served as her attorney ever since.
Would you say Miss Lathan is a wealthy woman?
Indeed I would. Her estate is worth a significant sum. Of course, you understand that this is confidential information, so I cannot tell you the exact amount.
Yes, of course. Can you think of anyone who may have wanted to harm Miss Lathan?
Yeah.
No, I can't. What makes you think that someone actually killed her?
It seems the most plausible explanation.
Miss Lathan was getting on in years. It's likely she may have developed a case of pneumonia. That's the most common killer of the elderly, you know.
Yeah.
I had it when I was younger. Most unpleasant. Constant coughing, spitting up phlegm, rattling in the lungs. Thankfully, I made a full recovery.
But supposing that was the cause of death, how would it explain the fact that her body was completely burned?
She was a smoker. Perhaps she was having a cigarette when she died and dropped it on the bed, causing it to catch fire.
I found no cigarette butts at the crime scene.
I'm merely offering my opinion, Mr. Fordham. You can take it or leave it.
Yeah.
I think we should leave it.
That's what I'm gonna do.
I found this letter in Miss Lathan's bedroom, which mentions that she recently changed her will. Could you tell me a bit more about the circumstances surrounding this change?
Yeah.
That's not an uncommon occurrence. People change their wills all the time. Relatives and friends fall in and out of favor constantly.
Had Miss Lathan made changes to her will previously?
No, this was the first time.
Oh.
What change did she make exactly?
Just a change to her beneficiary. Nothing out of the ordinary.
And when did this change occur?
About 4 months ago, if I recall correctly. Yes, it was definitely in June, because I'd been in bed with a nasty stomach flu at the end of May. That was no fun, let me tell you. I think I lost nearly 6 pounds from the constant trips to the WC. Couldn't keep a thing down, and whatever did stay down soon came out the other end, if you get my meaning.
That's why his meaning is regrettably impossible to avoid.
Yeah.
Who did Miss Lathan name as her new beneficiary?
Mr. Fordham, please. You know I couldn't possibly tell you that. There is such a thing as attorney-client privilege.
I'm aware of that. However, Miss Lathan is deceased. Therefore, it stands to reason that she is in fact no longer your client.
True, but her estate is still in my hands. I'm not going to betray her trust just because she's dead.
About Miss Lathan's beneficiary.
Let's try a different
I
approach.
told you, Mr. Fordham. I can't divulge information protected under attorney-client privilege.
Let's try the second.
Do you not find it suspicious, Mr. Usher, that Miss Lathan died under such mysterious circumstances only 4 months after naming a new beneficiary? You said yourself she was wealthy. Does it not make sense that someone might have wanted her inheritance?
I suppose it's not entirely out of the question.
Right. So tell me the name of Miss Lathan's beneficiary so I can determine if this was, in fact, a murder.
Very well. It was a man named Roger DeVay.
Interesting, yep.
Do you know him?
His name's come up before in my investigation. Do you have his address?
Yes, it's 775 Pumblechook Place in Chumley.
That'll do nicely. Thank you, Mr. Usher.
Oh, that was easy.
Mr. Usher, I've noticed from your rules and habits that you seem to have a particular aversion to germs. Why is that, if I may ask?
I've been ill most of my life, Mr. Fordham. I was a sickly child, and unfortunately my condition hasn't improved with age. It's a miracle I'm still alive. That's why I'm so careful about exposing myself to germs.
I see.
How's my color? Do I look pale to you?
Not particularly.
I saw myself in the mirror this morning and thought I looked a bit peaked. Also, my leg has been hurting more than usual, which has been cause for concern.
Nah, you've really done it, Miles.
Yes, well, moving on.
Let's ask about him.
How long have you been practicing law, Mr. Usher?
Usher and Price has been operating since 1805. I took over from my father 15 years ago. The stress hasn't helped my heartburn, I can tell you that. Why, just last night I was tossing and turning because I couldn't stand the burning in my throat. That's why I've got these bags under my eyes, you know.
Ah, yes. And Mr. Price?
He's still here, although I think he'll probably be retiring soon as well. But the law firm has done well over the years, and I have a feeling it'll do even better in the years to come.
Oh? Why is that?
We're currently beginning a group litigation against Royal Maverick for the Lygia disaster.
Oh.
I'm confident that we'll recover quite a significant sum for the families of those killed. You weren't by chance affected by the disaster, were you?
Thankfully, I wasn't, no.
Shame. You could have joined the class action and done quite well when we win.
You know, I always thought we detectives made our living off human tragedy.
Thank you for your help, Mr. Usher.
The pleasure is all mine, Mr. Fordham.
Well, now we have even more information. We have information about the death, and we have our artist's address. I say we go there.
Did Usher give us the wrong address? This should be 775, but there's no building here.
Interesting.
Yeah, those aren't half bad. Too bad they aren't finished.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to be used to keep the fire going.
Yeah.
By Chum standards, that's practically a four-poster.
Yeah.
By Chum's... Hey, that's just like the one we had when I was a boy. Good old Rusty. He served us well.
Yeah, this is interesting.
Doesn't look like much, but I bet it keeps the rain off. Assuming there's no wind. I used to draw funny pictures of rich people on walls too when I was a kid. Never did a lick of good, but it would always make me feel better. These aren't in such bad shape, really. As far as the Chum goes, this is one of the nicer areas.
Yeah. Straw map paintings. Let's talk to this guy. And after we're done with that,
excuse me.
End the episode.
Yeah?
Is this 775 Pumblechook Place?
Yeah, it would be if the building were still here.
Oh, see. Might I ask you a few questions?
You can ask.
Okay.
Do you know Roger DeVay?
Yeah.
Know him? Of course I know him. He lives here with me.
He does?
Well, whenever he decides to come home, anyway. The rest of the time, I suspect he finds a way to sleep at his job.
Me, I'd do the same, except I can't stand the smell of the horses.
I suppose the university would have plenty of places for one to sleep.
Oh, so he works at the university, does he? Well, I suppose that makes sense with him always putting on airs the way he does. Probably best not to mention me to him. He gets real testy when anyone asks about his situation.
I'll keep that in mind.
Interesting.
Tell me about Roger's artistic pursuits.
Yeah.
Well, not much to tell, really. He used to paint all the time when he had his studio in the building that used to be here. He was good at it, too. Shame nobody ever bought his paintings. All that's left now are those 2 unfinished ones against the back wall there.
Huh.
Well, he used the rest of his spare canvas to make the tent.
How did Roger feel about his paintings not selling?
What do you think? Made him madder in the March air. Didn't do a very good job of hiding his displeasure either. At least none around me. He always used to say he'd find some way or another to make the money he deserved.
He told me he was content with the salary he got from his teaching job.
That's a load of bunkum if I ever heard it. Truth
Interesting.
is, old Roger's about as poor as Job's turkey. He'd do anything to make a quick crown.
Well,
Huh.
that's certainly interesting.
Yes.
Do you know a woman named Desiree Lathan?
Nah, I don't know many women. They're not too fond of my company. Well, I don't understand why. I always try to be a perfect gentleman. Guess it just don't got the charm. I've asked
Possibly.
Roger to give me a few pointers. He's a big hit with ladies, you know.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. He no sooner looks at them than they're falling at his feet. Real natural, that one. Never brings back here, though. Always winds up staying with him, getting a free meal and a soft bed out of it. Ah, well, the bohemian lifestyle ain't for everyone. Maybe someday my luck will change.
I'm sure it will change the day he decides to take a bath.
What's your name, sir?
Yeah.
Me? I'm Herman. Herman Shaw.
How long have you been living here?
Yeah.
Oh, I've been here for ages. Since before the building got condemned and was torn down. They pretty much forced us out, you see, but a couple of us came back and set up here. Seemed like a good idea. And I had nowhere else to go. That's not so bad, except for when it rains. And I guess we'll have to bundle up a bit more when it gets cold. But other than that, it's like the place was still standing.
There's some of that classic chum ingenuity. Or maybe it's just delusion.
Yeah.
What happened to this place? Why was it condemned?
Yeah.
The building was old, in a pretty sad state, so the inspectors came by and said it was unfit for living. There was a whole lot of us here. Most were able to pick up and go, but a few of us stayed.
Why don't you go to a workhouse?
You wouldn't be asking if you'd ever been inside one. It's wall-to-wall people, children crying, sick folk coughing all over you.
But there's plenty of that out here, too.
Yeah.
Sure, but out here, there's freedom. Nobody telling you what to do except the odd copper. Not even many of them in this neighborhood. Besides, this is my home. Just because it's missing a few walls don't mean I ought to abandon it.
Protest. That's too bad.
You look somewhat familiar. Didn't I see you protesting outside the Harris construction yard?
Yeah, I was there. What of it?
Were you affected by the Ligeia disaster?
Well, nobody I know was killed, if that's what you mean.
So why were you protesting the construction of the Lenore?
Because that Devons fella promised he'd buy us a meal if we stood in the crowd. And for a free meal, I'd do just about anything.
Well, thank you for your time.
Maybe give us a shilling or two for the trouble?
I'll consider it.
So that's an interesting little detail. And I think with that, we will call it an episode here. As always, this is Rich Kale here on YouTube, RichGenX elsewhere, and if you've watched to the end, I appreciate it greatly. Give the video a like. I appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel so you can check out the full playthrough and check out some other things on the channel. I post stuff every day, I am currently, as you can see, working through Lamplight City. I've worked through other point-and-click adventures, like I Have No Mouth and I'm a Scream, Kathy Rain, A Detective is Born, and Fly of the Amazon Queen. That was a fun one to play. I am also working my way through the Tomb Raider series up until Chronicles, currently on The Last Revelation. I am working my way through the Sherlock Holmes series from Frogwares in a chronological order. At the time of this recording, I'm on the 5th one in the series chronology, which was the second game released, Secret of the Silver Earring. I'm also working my way through Alien vs. Predator, actually about to start the Predator campaign. And I'm working my way through the Henry Stickmin collection. I'm actually on the last part of it, completing the mission, trying to get all the profiles, all the endings, all the failures, all the achievements, you know, fun stuff like that. I'm also working my way through The Witness. I'm working my way through the Zork franchise in chronological order, and I've been playing Zork Zero right now. And I'm working my way through Gibbous, a Cthulhu adventure, which is a fun game to play. Also up on the channel, you'll see some runs through the game of Monstrum 2. And I'm working on bringing some of my stories to prose. So check things out. And there's also retrospectives of all the games I've played. But until next time, again, this is Rich Kale here on YouTube, Rich Gen X elsewhere. Bye!